Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Serious business today. Real serious. We're going to begin here with this article. We have quite a few articles to try to get through. We'll see how many we get through. This article is titled, people better get ready. I've been discussing this for a long time. We've been monitoring the banks. It's coming. And I don't think most of the people believe it. I don't think they're ready. This all benefits the new financial system. It's a part of that game. It's part of that chessboard. This article is titled 94 U.S. banks are at significant risk of experiencing bank runs. If you saw what happened before, when Silicon Valley Bank, Silvergate, all those banks went down, that was nothing compared to what's coming. Now, there's those of us who are prepared, and we're going to definitely benefit from this 100%. I'm going to tell you that right now. The new financial system benefits from this greatly. Number one. Number two, gold and commodities. Silver also, is it right there with gold, will probably skyrocket. And that's probably one of the reasons I said this before, why a lot of these institutions are predicting $3,000 gold. Gold, anytime there's a problem, major financial problem or geopolitical tension, gold and silver skyrocket. They go up. Now, who knows how long that's going to be? Gold has been enduring much longer at a higher level. You know, silver sort of bounces back and forth, etc. But with its rising popularity, it's going to benefit greatly. No doubt about it. When or if this occurs, to me, it looks like it's just a matter of when, not if. But this article begins here. And this is coming from, wait, let me tell you who it's coming from, so you know that it's valid. You know that this is coming from reputable sources. Now, it says 94 U.S. banks at serious risk of bank runs, including BNY, State Street, JP Morgan Chase, and Citi. This goes right along with what we've been researching. Now, with that 94 at serious risk, understand that they are negating others that are at risk, but they're not deemed as serious risk. They negate those banks based on a technicality. But if you're in the members only section, you go back some videos, you'll look at those numbers. Some of the people in members only section, they remember seeing certain numbers. It would blow your mind if you saw those numbers. All right, so now let's scroll on here because things are about to get hot. I'm telling you, it looks like they're putting things into overdrive. Why is everything happening now? You think you believe in coincidences? Because I don't. All right, but we're ready for this. We've been ready. It says here, an analysis from Florida Atlantic University finds the billion-dollar banks in question, which includes 7 U.S. financial giants, have all reported a 50% or higher ratio of uninsured deposits to total deposits. We've discussed this many times. Those uninsured deposits that they like to bury, that they don't like to have reported on. Sure, they talk about deposit flight. That's nothing. They feel like they can always get customers back, even though they've been struggling and losing customers to money market funds and commodities accounts and etc. But they feel like they have a fighting chance with that. With uninsured deposits, this is a much bigger problem. Same thing with commercial real estate. So look at those 3 big issues right there for the banks. Uninsured deposits, they're bleeding out with that. The flight of their customers, losing customers, that's number 2. Deposit flight. My apologies. I almost forgot the term. Deposit flight, commercial real estate. I mean, they're getting hit with problem after problem after problem. Then there's another article I have somewhere here. Like I said, this is a serious business video. There's another article here where it confirms something I said before. We'll get into that a little bit later, but let's continue on here. The university's liquidity risk from exposures to uninsured deposits index shows BNY Mellon has a 100% ratio of uninsured deposits, followed by State Street Bank at 92.6%, Northern Trust at 73.9%, Citibank at 72.5%, HSBC Bank at 69.8%, JP Morgan Chase at 51.7%, and US Bank at 50.4%. Florida Atlantic University finance professor Rebel A. Cole says the banks are more vulnerable to liquidity crisis. Have you seen what's going on lately? To liquidity crisis because uninsured depositors are motivated to withdraw their funds quickly if they perceive any risk to a bank's stability. They're in big trouble. They're in big trouble. I'm telling you right now. Let me see if I can find that other article. Maybe we can get to that early here and pull all this together. Because once the public starts finding out about things like this, I'm telling you right now, those bank runs can start very, very easily. Once again, I'm not a fearful person. I don't believe in fear. I come from the Stone Cold Steve Austin school of thought, whereas F fear, you remember that you had that slogan, F fear is an expletive, fear. So I'm a person where I stay aware of what's going on. I'm not filled with fear. I take preventative measures and I stay ready. I stay ready and I'm looking for a benefit in it. And we're definitely going to benefit from this. Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't know what you do. I don't know what you have. I'm just speaking for myself. This is the other article that ties a lot of this together. When the public starts finding out what's going on with the information. Now, a week ago, there was a bevy of articles that came out about regulators being concerned with the treatment of bank workers being overworked. Bank workers have been mistreated and they've been overworked. OK, and they were saying how they were encouraging people to come forward about mistreatment of bank workers. All right. They've been worked into the ground. We covered a few articles about that earlier in the year. Now, what I said, if you remember this, a few weeks back, I said that because of their alleged mistreatment, this is what they say in articles. I'm not in the banking industry, so I don't know personally, although I have many connections and people that work in the banking industry that keep contact with me and let me know certain things. I personally wouldn't know about the treatment. All right. So that's why I say allegedly. But because of that treatment and overworking, I said I wouldn't be surprised if we see more bank employees stealing from customers. We saw multiple CEOs get busted this year for stealing millions of dollars from customers. That's a fact. Well, based on articles, right? In legal proceedings, of course. But I postulated that you would see more of that happen. You would see more stealing of information, selling of information. Information is like gold right now. That's why you see all these hacks happening. I said we would see more of that. Listen to this. Another article. This article is titled JP Morgan employee allegedly steals account data, social security numbers. And this is in addition to that huge hack that just happened where they claim billions of people's, that's what they said, billions of people's social security numbers are now out there in the dark web. This is what they claim. All right. So this is in addition to that. Social security numbers and other sensitive data information on over 200 customers. And this is serious business. It's coming from FINRA. You don't get more reputable than that. You don't get more serious than that. It says a former JP Morgan employee is in the crosshairs of the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, over alleged regulatory violations. All right. And then they go into the details of what happened, but we pretty much know what happened. He stole the information. They told us that in the title. See, now these articles are being buried from the public, but how long? This is hot news. How long can the mainstream media turn away from this? See, here's the problem. Once the mainstream media starts reporting on all the different problems within the banking industry, because at some point, something is going to happen. Now, see, the people within the financial circles, like people that trade stocks, people in crypto, they're becoming more wise to this. Whereas before, just from my experience, a lot of people, even though there's like a handful of us been reporting on this for years, they would turn a blind eye to this. Now, a lot of them are not turning a blind eye to it. They're taking a look at it and saying, whoa, there's actually something here. And people like myself are saying, well, we told you something was here. But because they're taking it serious, they might take an action. Now, if they take action at some point on some of these banks with these problems, and you start to see some of that liquidity trickle out of there, that can cause a bank run. Because what happens is you have all these groups on social media. A lot of these people are in these groups, and they're sort of like secret groups. You don't really, some people know about them, some people don't. And they start talking, and the group moves as a whole. That's where you get these massive liquidity drains and such. Now, it's not about the liquidity drain, although that could spark something. It's the information. Regular people will begin to hear about that. People will tell their siblings and their friends, etc., people on the job, etc. I've seen this. And then that spreads out like wildfire. And unfortunately, regular people panic quickly. They panic quickly. Now, here's the thing. You start to see certain activities happening with these banks. Some of them start to collapse. Some of them start to go down. And then the mainstream media has no choice but to report on it. As they report on it, at first, it may not be that big of a problem. As they report on it, they will exacerbate the problem. This is what happened last time. Last time, the movers and shaker in the financial industry were already pulling out of some of these banks, right? Then it wasn't until it started to be reported everywhere on the mainstream media with Silicon Valley Bank, Silvergate Bank, etc., that the regular people said, oh my goodness, there's a problem. And they start running to the banks and they start running to the ATM machines. Then there was a problem, right? That's how it goes. That's what I'm trying to say. This information, this hasn't gone mainstream just yet, but it will. So now what do? We'll watch for the catalyst. We stay privy and abreast to, is this making mainstream circulation yet or not? Once it does, then I believe that's a major catalyst that there's going to be a big problem in the immediate future, right? So now, that's not the only thing we have today, but that's something. Listen, I'm always happy that we're making the right calls, but at the same time, it's my hope that the regular people out there, the wise people out there, are not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but it's my hope, my opinion, that people should take precautionary measures and protect themselves at all time. Find out if your bank has a lot of uninsured deposits. Are they exposed to massive commercial real estate? Are they having massive deposit flight? If you're going to be trusting them with a lot of capital, that's all I'm saying. You don't have to do anything I say. Once again, not financial advice. I'm going to repeat it. Yeah, people hate when you say that, but you got to say it anyway. Now we're going to move on here. Listen to this. What is going on with this? All this information being dumped all at once. I love days like this, but also at the same time, I always find it rather peculiar. All this comes out at the same time. It's like so much information that normal people will not get to pour through all of this. I think it's a technique that's used often. Dump a bunch of the news that is very important for people to know all at once so they can't sift through it all. You just get pieces of it, sort of like what they do with bills in the U.S. If you want to get something passed in the U.S., they typically will put everything together, a whole bunch of stuff that's unrelated together. The bill is so big. The paperwork is so huge. We're talking thousands of pages, 4,000 pages. They want to pass it in a day, so you can't read it. So you either have to say yes or no to something that you don't even have enough time to read and get hip to the intricacies of what's going on. And they do that on purpose because of that. There's something in there that they want to pass that they know you might say no to, but they'll put like maybe 3-4 other things in there that you definitely want to say yes to, so that everything's bonded together. And when you pass these things that you're for, you also have to pass this thing that you're against. It's hiding of information. I think that's what they do a lot of the times here, what we're witnessing. Look at this. This article here is titled, European Central Bank wants a digital euro. Really? We've known that from the beginning, despite their stance against digital DLT technologies, against crypto. We've always known this. They've worked with Ripple at times. They've consorted with Ripple at times. They definitely have a great relationship with the Bank for International Settlements. We know that the leader of the European Central Bank used to be the leader of the IMF, so it's very familiar with the digital systems that are on the rise. Now, it says these 4 countries say no. There's division there. Do people understand what this means if there continues to be division? I mean, they're literally handing us the victory. We live in unbelievable times. I don't know if other people feel that way. I definitely do. The European Central Bank's plans to launch the digital euro are being resisted by many people in Germany, Austria, Netherlands, Slovakia. Shout out to all my people in Germany, by the way. The concern, people show me a lot of love out of Germany. I appreciate you all. I hope you're all safe over there. The concern is that a central bank digital currency will leave them dangerously dependent on technology. They also worry that a CBDC would intrude on their privacy and put savings at risk. It has everything to do with the European Central Bank. This is what they have a problem with. We've heard it before. Now, what is going to happen if they cannot come to the table, if they cannot come to one accord, what's going to happen is these countries here, this is what's possible. Germany, Austria, Netherlands, Slovakia, they will have to, because let's be real, the entire world will have to adopt digital systems in order to interact and interface with the new global systems, which most of them are fragmented, but will be pulled together by the glue that is the new financial system. They need an infrastructure to interact with that. They cannot be left behind and remain first world countries, how they use those terms, etc. They cannot remain behind. They can't. All right. So in order to do that, what would happen is they would have to create their own digital systems and local digital currencies. Remember, we used to talk about that. I said this before. Local digital currencies are going to be major, whether there's companies issuing tokens because they have their own mechanisms they want to institute. They have their own things they want to do, own smart contracts for tracking or whatever. They have their own ways about them that they want instituted, whether it's companies, townships, countries. Local digital currencies will be major. So then if you have Germany with a local digital currency, Austria with one, Netherlands with one, and Slovakia with one, once they develop those systems, let's say that they do that. I'm pretty sure that they are. Once they do that, and they may come to the table and say, listen, we're going to use our own system, but we will allow that system to interact with the ECB's digital currency system. That way we maintain some control. We can control our freedoms and all these other concerns that they have. They bring the ECB to the table. What does that mean? Now, who's heavy in that area? Bank coins are heavy in Europe. Stellar's heavy in Europe. Algorand is heavy in Europe. They've been running their Algorand accelerator in Europe for years now, building quietly. Shh, they don't want anybody to know. It seems that way, right? Or else it will be highly publicized. Who else is heavy? Quant is heavy in Europe. Nexi, via Nexi and Sia Chain, Sia Partners, that whole connection right there. So they're going to need glue to pull all this together. They're becoming more and more fragmented. The more that they become fragmented, the more we have to glue together. Do people understand? That's more value that might, not a guarantee, of course, that might be flowing through the new financial system. We're talking, and once we're looking at the entirety of the globe and how fragmented the entirety of the globe is, that's more and more that adds to the trillions or possibly quadrillions in the future that could move through this system. And what does that do to the price? I mean, that's what I'm here for. I'm here for these prices to go up. I am an enthusiast of crypto technology, 100%. I love it. I find them fascinating. I'm here to make money. At the end of the day, I'm here to make money. And with that value, the world's going to change forever. I'm not kidding about that at all. It's our chance, it's our opportunity, it's our time to make changes where it could be positively beneficial for the world, right? If we become the new 1%. So, I mean, that's just the side that I stand on. You don't have to stand that way. You can just buy yourself a Lambo, nice house, whatever, and ride off into the sunset. You do what you want to do. But that equals more value, more fragmented systems, which needs more glue, more customized systems. And this is why, in one way, let's say any of these bank coins are going to get utilized, which, let's be real, we see them being implemented already. Thailand, their government wants some sort of contract or has a contract with Ripple. India using the XRPL between them and the UAE. They're dominating, taking over already. We're seeing the beginnings in the nascent phase of all of this. But this is why people say there's not enough XRP to go around. If it really serves its purpose, there's not enough to go around. I don't care what billions of XRP there is. It can't cover the globe. It's not enough. It's not. People have to look at the big picture and really understand what they're looking at. A global system. How many people are there on the planet? They allege How many people are on the planet? Let's look that up right now. I want to give you a real number. Let's go to a very, very fast AI so we don't waste any time. We're going to go to Grok, Groq AI. That's one of my favorites because it's lightning fast. It does not play around. How many people currently on Earth? Let's see what it says. Okay, there we go. So, as of mid-2023, look how fast that was. As of mid-2023, the estimated population of the world was 7.92 billion. 7.92 billion. That's not including, and so then you take some of that XRP, some of that XLM, and remember, you have to put that into systems where a lot of that is locked up in wallets. A lot of that's locked up in wallets. A lot of that is in constant circulation between the banks. Then you have the regular people come in. I mean, there's not enough to go around. There isn't. There is the possibility that if they can pull off this big mission, that some of those bank coins will become very rare. I'll say this. They've been trying to, I've seen this in the information. It seems to me that a lot of entities don't want people to know about something like Quant, as an example. because quant has a lower circulating supply than Bitcoin. That can become rare very fast. It's one of the reasons why I just hold quant. I don't care what's going on. I don't care what people say. I just hold quant. It's not going anywhere. I don't play with the bank coins at all, because in an instant, boom, quant could explode, and I want to be there. If that's going to happen, I want to be there for it. 100%. It can skyrocket like nothing else. But I'm just using that as an example. All of these bank coins, if they're fully utilized, if those companies do their job, which is no telling, we're not in charge of those companies, but they could become rare very quickly if all of this plays out a certain way. This article is titled "Breaking: Franklin Templeton Files for Bitcoin and Ether Crypto Index ETF." Bitcoin continues to move further and further towards being mainstream. And as Bitcoin is moving further and further towards being mainstream, it's pulling the rest of crypto with it. That's great. This is a great thing. It says to deepen its grip in the market, Franklin Templeton wants to launch a crypto index ETF that will initially hold Bitcoin and Ethereum. American financial asset manager Franklin Templeton has filed an application with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission to launch a crypto index ETF. This new exchange traded fund will initially hold Bitcoin and Ethereum, two products it currently administers on U.S. markets. It says, since January, the Gary Gensler-led SEC green-lighted Bitcoin ETF, many issuers have doubled down on their industry engagements. With the new allowance, Franklin Templeton also joined the Ethereum ETF bandwagon in May. Though the asset manager is not one of the top-performing ETF issuers for either Bitcoin or ETH, it occupies a pivotal niche in the sector. Yeah, it doesn't matter who's the top performer. All these large companies getting in, that's the point. It leads one to understand that mass adoption is there. They're getting in position. So now, once you stop hearing about all of these different forward-moving activities, that's what tells me that maybe now we're going to get a mainstream media push. See, first they have to set up the store. You set up the store, you put some chips in there, you put some soda in there, other products people are going to desire, and then now you have the advertising run advertisements everywhere. We bring customers in. The same thing is happening right here. Let them set up the store, and then we get a media push later on. That's going to bring a lot of capital in. The people trust these companies. They trust, a lot of the people trust a lot of things that are mainstream. And so when they say it's time to get Bitcoin, Bitcoin's good, come get it from us, the banks, the non-banking financial institutions of the legacy system, the people will come. They're going to bring a lot of money. And then here's the thing that's really, really good. If the people are satisfied with the gains that come from Bitcoin, because I want to make this clear, there's a lot of people have never been involved with crypto. Some of us forget that because we've been in it for so long, and all the people around us is like an echo chamber. They're all involved in crypto. We start to think crypto is mainstream. No, it's not. I come across lots of people that don't like Bitcoin, not involved in crypto, think crypto's a joke, think it's too risky. Their minds may change once banks are involved and legacy system NBFIs are involved, and they say, hey, come get it from us. It's safe. All right, come get this ETF. Now, if they're satisfied with that, all those newcomers, that's a lot of new capital, a lot of new value. If they're satisfied with that, a hungry person who has a good meal today may tomorrow look for something else that is also good, but different, because people like diversity. What does that mean? Maybe they want to have a little XRP now. XRP is in the clear. It's in the clear. Maybe they want to have a little XRP, diversify. Maybe they want to have a little bit of Solana, diversify. You know, they have a little Bitcoin, a little ETH already. Who knows where they want to go next? But the point is, that opportunity is there for crypto to expand because of things like this. If we're watching that pathway, this is where it seems everything is heading, little by little, step by step, right? So then you have that. So now, this article is titled, "Don't Let the Stock Market's Best Week of 2024 Fool You. There's a new game in town." It says a, quote, "bad news is bad news," unquote, environment means there's less room for error when it comes to economic growth. Stocks have roared back with a vengeance from the August start, the worst August start since 2002. but don't let the bounce disguise a crucial change in the way the markets are now interpreting economic data. Quote, we're at an important inflection point that consists of markets recognizing that we're now, number one, in an environment where sort of sticking the landing on inflation, and number two, a slower economic environment, unquote, said Tony Roth, Chief Investment Officer at Wilmington Trust Investment Advisors, in an interview. Solid progress on inflation is good news in that it clears the way for the Federal Reserve to begin cutting interest rates. But the focus on slowing growth means investors are now much more attuned to fears that a widely hoped economic soft landing could instead turn into a recession. So there's a little bit more fear in the air. This is what they're alleging. That means the market, quote, pivots from an inflation risk to a growth risk, unquote, Roth said. Wilmington Trust expects U.S. gross domestic product growth to slow a 1.5% annual rate in 2025, but warns there is a 1 in 3 chance that the economy does indeed slide into a recession. I'm going to add my little 2 cents there. They're talking about a very, very light depression, but it could become severe. Quote, we're going to be in a different kind of volatility regime than we've been in the past, unquote, he said. Quote, the margin for error is less, unquote. Yeah, but I feel like people should always be that way. Should always be very cautious. And they should always have a plan A, B, C, and a D. And be ready to move. Be ready to adjust at all times. Change is the only constant. So I say embrace change and be ready for change, right? That means expect the unexpected. Anything can happen at any time. And I like to stay on my toes. I like to stay ready. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.